الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. ألا وإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، فكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أعاذني الله وإياكم من البدع ومن الضلال ومن النار. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن شاء الله نحن في الحصة الثالثة أو الثird، يعني Saturday. الشيخ آدم is not here. He couldn't make it, and he sent his apology. He apologized. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for him. Today, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, me and Sheikh Muhammad, we have a variety of subjects. Inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, we'll try to put our hand, inshallah, on the things that people need and what people should understand, especially in their deen. Alhamdulillah, I will start with the ayah from Kitab Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. And this ayah, the majority of Muslims nowadays understood this ayah wrong. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. That the day that nothing is going to benefit the person, his wealth, his children, except the person who meet Allah Azza wa Jal with the qalb al-salim, the pure and the clean heart. People, they understand that the heart should be clean from jealousy, from envy, they think that this is the qalb al-salim. That means when you meet Allah Azza wa Jal with a very kind and polite and this al-qalb al-salim, there is no jealousy, there is no envy, there is no hatred in your heart. And this is a small part from the qalb al-salim. Al-qalb al-salim is the pure and clean from the shirk. The heart, the heart with the tawheed. And the people nowadays, they are focusing and the four pillars, studying the salah, the sawm, the hajj, the zakat. But the most important thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for this reason, Allah created the heavens and the earth, and created subhanAllah, the creators, and sent the messengers, and also revealed his books, is kalimat la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في سورة محمد فاعلم أنه لا إله إلا الله واستغفر لذنبك. قال العلماء في هذا العلم قبل العمل، أنك تعلم, you have to know Allah Azza wa Jal, you have to know the kalimat al-tawheed, and after make istighfar to yourself. As-salah, as-salah, there is a condition. You can't come and pray naked, or you can't face in other place, the al-qibla, al-Kaaba. Zakat also, there is a condition of the zakat, and there is a condition of the sawm. And any pillar, they got a nullifiers. That's when you nullify your pillar. That means you break if you laugh in salah, if you don't have salah, that means your salah is not accepted. So the same thing. Hajj, if you do just 5 left, not 7, your Hajj is not accepted. If you don't go to Arafah, your Hajj, the same with kalimat la ilaha illallah, with kalimat al-tawheed. The person who meet Allah Azza wa Jal in the day of judgment with the tawheed, even this person who committed al-kaba'ir, the major sins in this worldly life, he will be saved. Even if he were to go to be thrown in the hellfire, he will be punished according to his sins. But the only one who will be saved, and the only one who will get the shafa'ah, the intercede from the Prophet Muhammad is the one with the tawheed. You have to know this one. The one without the tawheed is mukhallad, is eternal in Jahannam. For the person with the tawheed يدخل في المشيئة مشيئة الله عز وجل حتى بذنوبه يأتي بالذنوب ولكن موحد. And hadith al-bitaqa, and you know the hadith of the card, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it in the scale of the person that subhanallah he commits a lot of bad deeds, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give this bitaqa, and this bitaqa, this kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah will protect him and save him from to be thrown in Jahannam. فالقلب السليم, the pure and the clean heart, is the heart with التوحيد. التوحيد له شروط, there is a condition of التوحيد. The ulama mention 8, some mention 7, some mention 5, but this short التوحيد, some ulama mention this one from an ayah in كتاب الله تبارك وتعالى. There is one verse in the Quran Kareem. He said the ulama, one, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, does the people, why they don't want to understand the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, and their heart are locked? For Allah subhanahu in this ayah, when you read this ayah, you understand what does mean La ilaha illallah and the shurut. The Sahaba, when the Sahaba, they saw all the tribes coming to the Medina in Ghazwat al-Khunduq, the battle of the tribes. One day they were coming, and the people said to the Sahaba, and they were, their situation, very poor. They were, subhanAllah, that is, they were, around a time, maybe 800 or 900. And they came all the tribe, and the Sahaba, one day, they heard about the coming. They said something in the subhanallah in the Quran, kalimat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it subhanallah in his book. فَلَمَّا رَأَى الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الْأَحْزَابَ قَالُوا هَذَا مَا وَعَدَنَا اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. One, the believers, the Sahaba, saw all the tribes coming to fight them. They said, هَذَا مَا وَعَدَنَا, this is what Allah and His Prophet promised us. قال العلماء هذا العلم بالمسألة. That means they used to be learned in the time of the Prophet and in Mecca. That this was going to happen to you. This, if you say La ilaha illallah, if you believe in Allah Azza wa Jal, this was going to happen to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, حَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. That the people think that when they believe in Allah Azza wa Jal, they are not, Allah will put them through a test. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ indeed وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. What happened to Nuh alayhi salam, to Isa alayhi salam, to Musa, to Zakaria, to Yahya, read. And you see that the beloved people to Allah Azza wa Jal, what happened to them in their way to Allah Azza wa Jal. But he said, هذا ما وعدنا الله ورسوله قال هذا العلم. أنهم كانوا يعلمون, they know that this was going to happen to them. They used to learn with the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. ثم he said, وقال وصدق الله ورسوله. That's what Allah and His Prophet, what they said to us is the truth, is the haqq. إذن هذا ما وعدنا الله ورسوله. وصدق الله ورسوله وما زادهم إلا إيمانا وتسليما. قالوا كذلك هنا قضية الصدق والتسليم واليقين الإيمان. وَمَا زَادَهُمْ ذَلِكَ الْأَمْرُ. This, subhanAllah, increase them in iman and increase them in submission. These are the condition of La ilaha illallah. When you understand kalimat La ilaha illallah, when you understand the condition of La ilaha, you'll be like a mountain. You're not going to be like a feather between the wind. Anyone that comes, they will take you with the, you don't know. You read any fatwa, you go. But the person with the knowledge, person with the yaqeen, person with the sidq, person with the ikhlas, sincerity, he would be like a mountain between, subhanAllah, the wind. SubhanAllah, never, SubhanAllah, move or shake. But this is the qalb al-salim. When you face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a pure and a clean heart, is with kalimat al-tawheed. You have to know that sometimes maybe one word, you insult Allah, you will abuse the deen of Allah, you walk, subhanAllah, in the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, maybe they make you out from the field of Islam. Yes, go and read. Some people they don't know this one. They abuse the deen of Islam. They insult each other with the deen of the fathers. And when you read and you see that the person should isolate his wife, should make tawbah again, it's not something easy. That's why Imam Al-Hasan Al-Basri, he said, mentioned when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Tabarak, إلا قال ربنا سبحانه وتبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. Which one is doing the best amal, not the lot of amal. You have to understand. The best amal is with Tawheed. Imam Al-Hasan Al-Basri قال المتابعة والإخلاص. العمل الحسن يكون بالمتابعة والإخلاص. To follow the way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to be sincere. And he said, القول الحسن هو كلمة التوحيد التي من أجلها كما ذكرنا, that was the reason that Allah created the heavens and the earth, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the messengers and sent the books. My advice to myself and to my brothers and sisters, please focus in this. Read about Tawheed. And also, I want to clarify something for my brothers and sisters. That is a glad tiding, is a bushra for us and for you. The Prophet Muhammad said in hadith in Sahih Muslim, he said, العبادة في الهرج كهجرة إليه والحديث صحيح. He said that the worship, the good deeds, in a trial, in difficulties, in problems, calamities, like what we are facing today, is like an immigration. You immigrate to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahu Akbar. That in this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in any subhanallah time, He will just test people to see the sincere, the true believers from the lies. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in His book that there is two kinds of trial. There is the individual one. Alhamdulillah, He said, يُبْتَلَى الْمَرْءُ عَلَى قَدْرِ إِيمَانِهِ. The person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test him according to his iman. If his iman is weak, the test is going to be weak. You know, have problem with his car, problem with his wife, problem with his children. Allah will test him. There is some people, they can't even continue, even the individual one. For Allah, this is rahmah from Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the test for the individual. It comes, subhanAllah, according to his iman. If his iman is strong, the test is going to be strong. And go and read what happened to the ulama when you read about Ibn Taymiyyah, Imam Shafi'i, wa Malik, wa Abu Hanifa, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in, ha'ula, ulama. What happened to them, you see, because subhanAllah is according to their iman. And then is another one, is the general, the global one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not here distinguish between the weak and the strong. وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. It's not going to come just the wrongdoers or the tyrant. This the ulama said, the filtration. That it will be very hard That's why the people, they will leave Salah, the people, they will, they will very worried that they are going to be accused. They will try that to, which we call al-muwafaqa, to agree with the other, with the non-Muslim, and or to be, we call, إما الموافقة يوافق أو ينافق أو يفارق. That he will agree with them just because he's very worried that they want to abuse him, or he will use hypocrisy just to hide his iman. And in the time of fitan, a Muslim should be closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. You should, when you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this time, when it comes the easy time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah, we call it tamkeen. We would, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make it tamkeen. That means the iman is going to be established in your heart. Yeah, the iman which will to be strong and solid in your heart. But when you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the time of the fitan, and he said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, it's like a person is immigrating to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن شاء الله وآخر كلمتي إلى الشيخ.
جزاك الله خير أبو مصعب. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair, brother Abu Mus'ab, for this very good advice and maw'idah. And I'll build on what brother Abu Mus'ab have just said. Now we have, listened to him and we have accomplished the word of Tawheed and we want to protect it. The word of Tawheed, it tells a lot of things. It tells the whole of Ibadah. I mean, as he said, it is not just a word that is uttered, but it's a word that involves the whole religion in it. When the Quraysh people came to the Prophet ﷺ and they asked him, to his uncle Abu Talib, and they said, your nephew is doing this. This is a long story, but then they said, if he wants anything, if he wants wealth, he wants women, if he wants status, we give him everything he needs. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, all I want is one word. But these people, because they understood the Arabic language and what this word would mean, listen to what they did. They were happy. They said, okay, we'll give you 10 words. He said, La ilaha illallah. As soon as he said this, all these leaders, they jumped up in anger and they left. Why? Because they understood what La ilaha illallah entails. What does it involve? And that's what Brother Mus'ab has just mentioned. So if we have achieved that, inshallah, then that involves all our ibadat. La ilaha illallah is the most important pillar in Islam. Then it's followed by salat, the prayers, by zakat, the almsgiving, by sawm, the fasting, and by hajj. So these ibadat, they're all built on the La ilaha illallah. Now we are establishing them. We are happy with what Brother Mus'ab said, and we want to establish that in our heart, and then followed by the ibadat. So we are establishing our ibadat as well. Now, the important part about this, how to protect these ibadat that we make the effort in order to achieve them. How can we protect them throughout our life in this dunya and carry them with us for the hereafter so we can be rewarded for it? And I'll touch on this part. And here I'll start with this hadith, which is reported by Imam Muslim, rahimahullah ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ, he used to use this method that I will mention in a minute, because it attracts the attention. If you have a group of people sitting and then you use the Prophet ﷺ method, you know that everyone will start listening. So the Prophet ﷺ one day was sitting with the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. This hadith was reported by Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala. So he said to them, أتدرون ما المفلس؟ وفي رواية من المفلس؟ So they all paid attention, they all were looking and listening attentively to see what is to follow. Now, they answered from what they understand. the answer comes from as human beings and the practice that they have. The muflis in Arab, يعني المفلس هو إنسان ليس عنده مال ولا عنده متاع ولا عنده شيء. Let's listen to the hadith and then inshallah say it in English and we'll say a few words. أتدرون ما المفلس؟ قالوا الصحابة رضي الله عنهم المفلس فينا من لا درهم له ولا متاع. فقال صلى الله عليه وسلم وهذا ما أراده النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إن المفلس من أمتي، يتحدث عن أمتي عن أتباعي عن أصحابي ومن جاء بعده. إن المفلس من أمتي من يأتي يوم القيامة بصلاة وصيام وزكاة، عبادات طاعات، وماذا بعد ذلك؟ ماذا يأتي بأي شيء آخر معها؟ ويأتي وقد شتم هذا وقذف هذا وأكل مال هذا وسفك دم هذا وضرب هذا، لم يترك أحد من شيء، فيعطى هذا من حسناته ويعطى هذا من حسناته، ولكن الخصماء كثر. فماذا يحصل؟ فإن فنيت حسناته قبل أن يقضى ما عليه، قبل أن يقضي حق الناس، فما الذي يحصل؟ هذا يوم عدل. العدل الحكم هنا الله عز وجل، وربك لا يظلم أحدا. ربك سبحانه يعفو عن الأمور التي بينه وبين العباد، أما ما بين العباد أنفسهم كل يأخذ بحقه، والله تعالى لا يظلم أحدا. فماذا يحصل الآن؟ حسنات انتهت، هي كثيرة، حتى في رواية من روايات الحديث يقول وجاء بحسناته كالجبال، فقال أخذ من خطاياهم فطرحت عليه ثم طرح في النار والعياذ بالله. Imam Muslim rahimahullah reported from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and as I said, this is an attractive way of bringing attention. If people are sitting in the large group and someone is talking and the others, discussing an issue, and then you come with this issue, everyone will stop and pay attention. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ used this method very often. So he said to them, do you know who the bankrupt is? Al-Muflis. Now, even those who were chatting, they stopped. Now what will they do? They'll answer the Prophet ﷺ, but they'll answer from what they understand in their daily life. The things that, this person, he's Muflis, that means blah, blah, blah. So they answer from the understanding, from the practice, from what they know. And again, we find out how the Prophet ﷺ, he wants to pay attention, so he wants to explain to them the reality. So they said, the Sahaba answered, a bankrupt is one who has neither dirham here refers to money, dirham dinar refers to money or monetary things, nor wealth or property, doesn't have anything, no money and no wealth, no property, nothing. That means al-hadid, scratching. So the Prophet ﷺ now, while they are paying attention, wants to tell them that is not important. Money comes and goes, property comes and goes. One day you have plenty in your hand, the next day you may not have anything. I think last week, I think maybe you or brother mentioned that one day you will be giving zakah. Maybe next year you'll be a recipient of zakah. Only Allah knows. It's only Allah knows. So now the Prophet ﷺ wants to know, that's not important. This comes and goes. Let's talk about the things that they stay, the steadfast, the things you need. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, a bankrupt among my ummah. This is a very important point. He's telling us that this person, he is a follower of the Prophet ﷺ. He believes in him. He believes in the message that he brought. And that's why he had all these things with him. Salat and Zakat, which we will mention in a minute. He said, from my ummah, the ummah he loved, the ummah that he tried very hard to save every single one of them from going to the hellfire. He said, the bankrupt among my ummah, my followers, is he who would come on the day of resurrection. He comes on the day of judgment, where the justice is dealt at its most. Allah is the judge, and Allah does not deal with anyone unjustly, not in the least. He comes on the day of judgment. What does he come with? This follower of the beloved Prophet ﷺ. He comes with salat, prayers, the most important practical ibadah in Islam. He comes with siyam, like the month of Ramadan and the nawafil as well. He comes with fasting. And then the Prophet ﷺ told him, this man is carrying another package. He's carrying this good. In fact, there is a hadith that says he comes with hasanat like mountains. A huge. He was good in that area. But what did he bring alongside with that? That is the issue. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, but he had offended one person, insulted another person, whatever the means was. He slandered another, touched the honor of someone. He devoured or consumed the wealth of others, meaning unjustly, like the orphans or the weak. He shed the blood, he even killed. He shed the blood of someone and beating others. Alongside, these are examples of the Prophet ﷺ, what this man brought, as well as the good deeds that he brought. They are just examples, but he brought a huge amount of good deeds and a very huge amount of assaults against the people, against people. And when people versus people, if justice is not done here, where is it going to be done? There, with the most just. Then the Prophet ﷺ continued to say, each of the people he had oppressed, because all these things, they fall under dhulm. Dhulm al-ibad lil-ibad. Each of these persons that he had done oppressed will be given some of his hasanat, some of his good deeds. This is a huge amount. In accordance with the wrong he did to them. If it's a big issue that he did to someone, they'll be given all of it. And Allah knows best how to measure. This is the problem, and this is the hasanat, this is the price that this person has to pay. And Allah knows exactly how much that he has to pay. And then, now there are too many. His enemies are too many. The problems that he caused are numerous. Yes, he brought lots of hasanat. But the Prophet ﷺ continued to say, and if his good deeds run out before justice is fulfilled, so now half of the people he had offended, he had abused, have taken their right. Justice was dealt there. They have taken hasanat. Maybe that hasanat will help him if they need him to go to Jannah. What about the other half? He ran out. But the most just knows how to deal with it. So then, their sins, their mistakes that they brought, because they brought some sins as well, will be cast upon him. Now his hasanat is gone, disappeared. All he's getting now is sins. So everything now is in the negative. So what will happen to him? And he will be thrown into the hellfire. I want to emphasize on a few things before we maybe have another 5 or 10 minutes, but I just want to emphasize on a couple of things. The first one is the Prophet ﷺ saying to this person, he is from my ummah. This is extremely important that he's a believer and he's practicing his deen. He is not someone who's just thrown all the deen behind his back. No, he was practicing. That means you see him in the masjid, you see him paying charity, you see him sending money overseas, he is fasting, he comes to the Taraweeh when it's allowed, and so on and so forth. So this is the kind of person. We're not talking about the person who has neglected his deen completely. We are talking about some, when we see his practices, sometimes you might wish that you could do the same like he is doing. This is a deception. Because you see him doing all these things, and then you see what he's coming with. So we have to be very careful. We are followers of the most beloved Prophet, the leader of all prophets. We have to respect that. This is something that we should be proud of, that Allah created us amongst this ummah to be one of his followers, and guided us to be believers and to be amongst those who believe in La ilaha illallah and what it entails. Now, I want to mention what some of the reasons that might cause the iflas or the bankruptcy in the hereafter. One of them, as this is what some of our great ulamas have mentioned, and I picked up a few of them. One of them that we neglect or we don't often remember the accountability of the hereafter. نغفل عن الحساب. الحساب يوم القيامة. When we neglect that and it doesn't come to mind, then we do things that as if it's not going to happen. The second thing, our accountability for our nafs, weekly, monthly, or yearly, when comes Sha'ban, as we know, our deeds are elevated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to see the good and the... So we should be accountable. حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا. Account for yourself before you brought to account. Sayyidina Umar said. The other thing, sometimes person can be deceived by the power and the wealth that he may have, and he thinks because of that he can do whatever he likes. And sometimes they do escape the punishment of dunya, but they are not going to escape the punishment or paying the price in the hereafter. And another thing that we might rely, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions so often in the Quran, the afu, the ghufran, Allah forgives, Allah forgives, Allah forgives. But remember, maybe Allah forgives what is his right. But you might find people are not, even that we are encouraged to forgive, we are encouraged to be people who are, even if we are on the right and we have, our rights have been taken to forgive, it's better than to take our revenge. But you don't find everyone in the same category. You will find someone who does not want to forgive, he wants to take their right, and that's their right they will get. Now, from Asbab al-Najah, they are quite, in fact, this Sheikh, he mentioned about seven of them. I don't want to mention all 7 of them because there are too many of them. We don't have time. But I just want to mention one of them, which is I just said about don't rely on the forgiveness of people. Because Allah Azza wa Jal says, you know, in dunya you might pay a price and then you get forgiveness. You might ask them, you might have to pay something, give them a gift or something, they might forgive you. But in the hereafter, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described that day, he says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يود المجرم لو يفتدي من عذاب يومئذ ببنيه وصاحبته وأخيه وفصيلته التي تؤويه ومن في الأرض جميعا ثم ينجيه. Meaning, the criminal, the sinner, this evil person would desire to ransom, to redeem himself from the punishment, from the chastisement of the day, meaning the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, by his children. He's willing to sacrifice his children, and his wife, and his brother, and his kindred who sheltered him, and all that is on earth, so that it could deliver or might save him from what is he facing. But that is not going to happen. Now, in this dunya, it is maybe sometimes easy to fix problems between you and other people. And that is where the Prophet ﷺ has encouraged us to do. As I will just take the last one, which is, it says, التحلل من المظالم في الدنيا فهو خير وأفضل وأيسر من قصاصها في الآخرة. To ask forgiveness, to reconcile. The shaitan will come to you, you say, look, you abused so. Go and say, I am sorry, please forgive me. The shaitan will come and blow in the nose of the person, say, oh, come on, you're not going to down to that level. And he's not going to accept it. He will distract, he will do his best, the shaitan, not to make you do that. But the Prophet ﷺ is encouraging us to do just that, to go and ask for forgiveness in this dunya. So I'll just read this hadith, which is reported by Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah, how the Prophet ﷺ wants us to protect ourselves, our good deeds in the hereafter by doing that in this dunya. روى الإمام البخاري رحمه الله عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: من كانت له وفي رواية عنده مظلمة لأخيه من عرضه أو من شيء فليتحلله منه اليوم في الدنيا قبل أن لا يكون دينار ولا درهم. إن كان له عمل صالح أخذ منه بقدر مظلمته، وإن لم يكن له حسنات أخذ من سيئات صاحبه فحملت عليه. Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala reported from Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever wronged his brother, meaning brother in Islam of course, with regard to his honor or any other matter, should seek his forgiveness today, meaning in this dunya, in this life while they are alive, before there are no longer any dinars or dirhams, i.e. no money, no property, no wealth to pay for that, for the bad deeds. And if he has any righteous, any good deeds, they will be taken from him in accordance with the wrong he did. And if he has no hasanat, some of their sayyi'at, some of their evil deeds of that counterpart person or the opponent will be taken and added to his burden, to his account, which is just support what we mentioned in the first hadith. So brothers and sisters in Islam, I will finish with this and just remind you and myself, this is a blessed month. Ramadan is a blessed month, and people tend to be closer to forgiving and be kinder to each other than any other time. And I would suggest, if there is any wrongdoings that you know of against any brothers and sisters, try to seek their forgiveness in this life. It is much easier than paying a hefty price with your deeds in the hereafter. With this I finish. Jazakumullah khairan for listening. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Inshallah, I think we'll have one more session that will be next Saturday, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity and the chance and the life as well. Inshallah.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless and advice for us and for our brothers and sisters. When he said that, subhanallah, in Tawheed, and after you get to the other pillars, you protect your salah, your zakat. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins in this blessed month and also inshallah. Inshallah we meet inshallah, I think with the last one.
Be the last.
Yes, with the last Saturday. Inshallah, maybe we'll see what subject.
We'll leave it open inshallah. Just we will have it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.